Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today. So I hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday wherever you are in this great, great world. I'm going to list this video under an XRP video so you get the notifications. But in this video, we're going to talk about the World Economic Forum and how it got from where it was in 1971 to where it is today. So let's take a look. When the World Economic Forum began in 1971, so did the inequality begin to grow exponentially. And you see the way the 1% broke away from the rest of us. And I feel those 1% of the world, they bought all the things they could ever want. Some have power, but it's limited power. They want absolute power next, power over all of us. JFK knew there's a plot in this country to enslave every man, woman, and child. Before I leave this high and noble office, I intend to expose this plot. Now, I feel if JFK had a little bit more time to expose all these people, we wouldn't be where we are today. Because back then, if you were held on treason, you got the death penalty or you spent your life in prison. Today, things are more acceptable. We have crimes being committed on a daily basis that go unsolved, or they get caught and just let go. Greenpeace is one of the organizations founded in 1971. Multiple pivotal events happened that year. Nixon broke us away from the gold standard. World Economic Forum found it. But I do believe we are headed back to the gold standard now. Look at all the central banks buying up tons of gold, countries buying up tons of gold. We are getting there little by little. Income redistribution. They weren't afraid to say it in 1976. Now, in 1976, when you heard redistribution, most people didn't really care because most people were working. But today, things are much different. You talk about universal basic income, and so many people would sign up for that. They would take the chip and get put under the slavery system in a heartbeat if it meant free government money. Because people have a sense of entitlement today. They want to do nothing and get paid to do it. Disturbing plan of depopulation. The stupid will believe it and ask to be treated. Now, this is from 1981. Euthanasia. Targeting these groups. Euthanasia will have to be an essential instrument of our future societies in all cases. Of course, we cannot execute people or set up camps. We will get rid of it by making them believe it's for their own good. Too large a population, and for the most part unnecessary, is something economically too expensive. Socially, it is also much better for the human machine to come to a screeching halt rather than gradually deteriorating. We won't be able to give intelligence tests to millions and millions of people. You can imagine. We will find something to cause it, a pandemic that targets certain people, a real economic crisis or not. A virus that will affect the old and the big. It doesn't matter. The weak will succumb to it. The fearful and the stupid will believe it and ask to be treated. This was written in 1981. You know what else happened in 1981? AIDS virus. And I believe that was the first trial run. Every record has been destroyed or falsified. Every book rewritten. Every picture has been repainted. Every statue and street building has been renamed. Every date has been altered. History has stopped. George Orwell, 1984. And they're not even teaching history in the schools anymore. They're teaching their new narratives. They don't want to, they're tearing down statues all around the country. We've seen that happen as well. But sometimes you got to look to history to see what's coming in the future. Big Pharma is not in business to cure anything. They have paid billions of dollars in fines for fraud, which are only a cost of doing business. In 1986, Congress, signed by Reagan, gave Pharma immunity for harm done by their vaccines. They are accountable to no one. Time to end that. And we need to hold Big Pharma accountable. Big Pharma pays doctors, researchers, politicians, the FDA, med schools, lawyers, lobbyists, the media, celebrities, and big tech. They're tied to everything. They're controlling everything. Required watching They Live, 1988 by John Carpenter. If you have not seen this movie, definitely check it out. You could get a free download of it. And it kind of shows everything I talk about on this channel. Without the glasses, he can't see what's really going on. He puts on special glasses and all of a sudden he sees what's really going on. You see the global elite's plan. But it's definitely a movie to check out. It's all connected. George Soros' foundation was set up in the Ukraine in 1990 and in his financial base to conduct his activities around the world. Modern Ukraine was set up by the cabal as their home to commit global crime. And we've seen that with FTX. Our tax dollars went to the Ukraine, came back through FTX, got laundered, and came back to both the Democratic and Republican parties. There's a lot more corruption going on. We only seen the tip of the iceberg. First, George Bush, New World Order Initiative, working behind the scenes endlessly for decades as UN ambassador, China diplomat, CIA director, vice president to the President of the United States, getting the New World Order crew together, making future plans. The other 9/11, George H.W. Bush's 1990 New World Order speech. But again, even back in 1990, I believe they were working in the shadows. Because back then, treason would still get you a life sentence or possibly the death penalty. But at least back then, they were pointing out what was going on little by little. By 1991, William Elliott's international seminar, where Kissinger recruited Schwab, as well as Pierre Trudeau, would be redesigned as the World Economic Forum's Global Leaders for Tomorrow program, with a parallel program running with Russian leader candidates, including Putin. Now, this is where I believe things really started to pivot. From 1992, the Global Leaders of Tomorrow program would be quickly redesigned and reformed as the World Economic Forum's Young Global Leaders. Leaders seated through this program include Blair, Sarkozy, Brown, Macron, Merkel, Justin Trudeau, and many others. The list is terrifying. And these are the people running the world right now. That's why Klaus can speak openly what his agenda really is. And nothing happens because no one will hold him accountable. Klaus Schwab, warning of the next pandemic, a cyber attack so vast it disconnects the internet. The new internet will only be accessible to those with biometric digital ID. Almost as if this is a plan. Because it is a plan. And they point it right out to you. Most people are still blind to this. Most people don't even understand that this is really happening. But yet we see it on a daily basis, pushing further and further ahead that 2030 agenda. We've launched our global campaign against the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab. We believe that the World Economic Forum, with its climate change, vaccine, and agricultural agenda, is the biggest current threat to humanity. And I definitely would suggest you give them a follow and a share. AntiWorld Economic Forum over on Twitter. Divide and conquer, a tool of control that's been used throughout history and on an unprecedented scale today. Women versus men, trans versus women, black versus white, LGBTQ versus straight, right versus left. Let's do what they fear more than anything and unite as one against tyranny. That was one of the greatest tweets I have ever read. Because it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter your race, what your beliefs are. No, it doesn't matter, period. What matters is that we stand up against what's coming. Because what's coming is going to affect every single one of us. New House Anti-Woke Caucus will push back on basic human decency, tyranny in schools, military, government, GOP rep says. Now, it's nice to see that some people are actually waking up to this. They're actually starting to see what's really going on. Wokeness is especially prevalent and dangerous at universities and in primary schools because the left recognizes students as the most vulnerable and useful targets for indoctrination. Banks wrote in an op-ed for American Mind title, fighting the woke agenda in Congress. The op-ed he detailed was what he believes America and Congress must do to reclaim its standards and practices from those who seek to erase them. And these people were targeted to be indoctrinated. And most don't even understand what they're standing up for or what they're fighting for. And what they're fighting for is something that divides this entire country. It doesn't matter if you agree with wokeness, that's up to you. But what I see here is people that are pushing an un American doctrine through our streets, through our schools. Everywhere you look, you see it. Crimes being committed. Oh, don't charge that person. Don't charge that person. Let them get away with it. If that continues to happen, all these same people that are standing up for wokeness will become slaves to the system at some point, and they don't even know it's happening. I feel that whole woke thing is like a cult led by the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab's agenda for 2030 is hidden in there somehow, some way. But with that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you watching my videos. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.